Everything is expected to be straight. It's like the same runway.
It's called James. I host this news every morning.
And the Golden Angel Award ceremony.
Hello, my dear friends, my lovely audiences, brothers, sisters, my dear fellow citizens of United States. Good morning, good day, good lunch, good dinner, whatsoever, depending where you are. I believe when I say such a large range, I'm saying that I'm so sure that what's being discussed now is so important that it concerns everybody of you. Now we see in the United States lots of strange things happening, and lots of things which are not supposed to be happening at the same time do happen at the same time. So first we see George Floyd died of no justice. He was literally killed. He was literally murdered on the street, on the broad sunlight. Of course, that has to be justified, that someday we will bring him justice. That's why so many knelt down to him to say sorry. Number two, we see lots of protests. I support protest, of course, peaceful protest. I support demonstration, peaceful demonstration. However, things did not remain as we wish. Pretty soon we started to see lots of uprisings, lots of riots, lots of looting, burning, whatsoever. The law has to do something. The enforcement had to do something. However, what to do? That's the third part of it. And fourthly, we're talking about there are lots of new movement that has to be yet recognized. We see lots of historical statues being toppled or being removed. This morning, last heard was that the seventh Vice President, his statue in Charleston was removed. And what caused my attention was that it was a decision of the city council. The city has 13 members of council members, and they did it without vote to a resolution. You know the vote, you want to know the vote result? How many versus how many?
No.
13 versus 0. In other words, unanimously, they voted, yes, go ahead, take off that statue. Right. I last time mentioned tearfully that as a victim of the Chinese Revolution, Chinese Cultural Revolution, I really hate to see things happening here in the same way, same manner, doing the same thing. So here today with my friend Chris Nebe, I want to together stretch this discussion to cover it a little more. So your take of the four, please, all the four, just to make the picture clear.
We talked about that last time.
Yeah, I know. But I'm talking about the Cultural Revolution, the fear of that, and is there justification of that?
I know too little about the Cultural Revolution but what is happening here is questionable, I think, because you see, by destroying these monuments, you're also destroying a certain part of history and put it in a museum. I mean, millennia ago, the Chinese philosopher Lao Tzu said, the only constant in life is change. And currently, the world is facing a monumental change. And it has been, we had already a very fragile economic system, but now the coronavirus has toppled that system, with millions of people out of work, and now we are going into the 4th month of a quasi-lockdown. Obviously, America is a disaster in handling it. And the result of this is there will be a complete new way of the American lifestyle. Completely change. And, you know, there have been many global diseases in the past, like Zika, AIDS, SARS, Ebola, and others. And they all originated from animal populations in environmentally challenged areas. And that, I think,
want to do a little insertion,
Yeah.
if you would allow me,
Of
please.
course, of
All right. To some, we know already is from animal to human, right? The coronavirus of Wuhan was or was not from animal to human. That is still a question,
correct.
still a doubt,
Yeah.
right? And some say it is from
From bats.
chemical lab.
Or from bats.
Some say from some bats. Whatsoever needs to be confirmed. However, one thing is concerned that we need to find out later on. I believe the science and technology will give us the best answer we deserve, right? So go ahead to where you are, please.
Yeah, but right now you see the most scientists believe it's from nature, because it's another urgent message from nature about our unbalanced relationship with nature, because we are rampantly destroying and exploiting the natural world, and maybe these diseases will come stronger and stronger, because obviously coronavirus so far is the strongest of the diseases I mentioned before. And maybe if we continue to exploit the earth, pollute the water, everything, we are polluting our environment, and eventually we may be destroyed. Like millennia ago, the dinosaurs, we will disappear.
Yeah, you're right. From the broader view, I agree with you on one point, that it is a human versus Mother Nature, right? And whoever or however it happened, it was either animal to human or human to human. We could altogether take it as under the same category as human race versus Mother Nature. I agree with you that someday, somehow, are we going to disappear like the dinosaurs, right? It was a joke, now it's not, or maybe not. So can you stretch that a little bit, please?
Yeah, because I mean, you see, isn't if what is fascinating to me is that how fragile our whole system is. Because basically, I mean, let's face it, there are now 130 or 140,000 people have died, which is really, compared to the population, not so much. But that has destroyed the entire economy overnight. And now this is only 3 months. Now what's the next 3 months? And the poor will there will be enormous rise of poverty in this country, which already had 20%.
We probably can worry about the economy later, little later, because we have on our hand already that there is a second surge of the pandemic. It is not a word over. I'm not saying it is not over. The fact to say over or not over is even out of question. The fact is that we are, as human race, facing another surge.
Yeah.
One day ago, it was reported that I handled myself with my own fingers that North and South America combined made the record-breaking highest single-day surge on new cases. On one day, one single day, there's 183,000 of new cases, right? That was 2 days ago.
And these are only those who have been checked.
Yeah. You are
people.
right. You are right.
There are lots of
you are
people.
absolutely right. If you are saying that in North America, like say Canada, like say United States, like say part of Mexican, they are kind of related to the group of better test. What if about the southern part of Africa? I mean America. My dear friend, let's take a little break. We come back to to continue find little by little what we are exactly facing. Stay with us, please.
Continue to work on it now.
My name is Paul James. I host the English news every morning.
And the Golden Angel Award ceremony.
Hello, dear friends, my lovely audiences. Welcome back to the show, Jack Chow on the East-West Show with my dear friend, Mr. Chris Nebe. Mr. Chris Nebe is one of the Hollywood filmmakers that I admire and adore so much, not only because his kind smile with a gentleman style, but the fact that he has so big a monument with lots of credentials behind him in filmmaking that made me salute to all the beautiful masterpieces. One of them I would like to recommend is Unit 731. It's an area that nobody dare touch. Nobody has ever touched during the World War II of the military chemical warfare launched by the Japanese. It is not exactly a good time to talk about it, to see back then, something 70 years ago, that chemical warfare was that bad. What if something happens now? And it is something now that we are seeing. The only thing lack is that we need to find out was it man-made or not man-made. However, what we see is worse enough. It's very, 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 very bad. Okay, now, at this very moment, people worry about a statue, a monument. Should it be there? That guy, several hundred ago, was a slave owner. Or he said something in favor of slavery system, so on and so forth. Yet we are facing such a pandemic that we should die. We could probably die any minute. Right. Back to the subject, okay? Now, suppose if North America are more advanced, so their numbers are relatively accurate, what about Southern America? There are Southern American countries, right? Right. So together, they made the #1 first ever single day cases 2 days ago. Today, this very morning, I handled a piece of news once again with my own hands. On Tuesday, which was yesterday, India, the second largest country on the world, discovered their first ever single day record of one day. Suppose American, or these two continents of North and South America can handle better. What about India? Well, with the poorest condition, with the lack of technology, right? Altogether, and that is coming from the south, right, towards Europe, and with the North and South America, yeah, happening towards west. What we see next is really something big. If I say, my friend Chris, what we are facing now with the finding of the single day record-breaking record, if I say the problem we're facing is much bigger than that statue, do you agree with me?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And the statute is an overkill, which always happens like this, like the looting is an overkill. The basic intention is fine, but tearing down all these statues is an overkill, and even though the politicians vote for it, they may be voting for it in unison, like in the city you mentioned, because it looks good. We voted for it. But that's an overkill and has nothing really to do, doesn't help the pandemic, and it doesn't help the Black Lives Matter. It doesn't have nobody, it just destroys history. So not a good idea.
All right, very good. Thank you very much. And I believe that together, me and my friend Chris will bring it to the table, on the table, for my audiences, that what we're facing now is much, 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 much bigger a problem than a few statues, which we can later on, how about 20 years later, how about 50 years later, to talk about, right? Okay. Plus, what happened in history had happened already. So you want to teach history, or you want to be taught by history? It looks that we're teaching history, right? You should do this. You should have done this. Why didn't I have done this? Something like that. What do you think about teaching history or to be taught by history?
We should learn the lessons of history and respect them, but we don't. And as I said, it's not even, it's overkill, and a lot of people regret that later what happened. It's not a smart move.
I really hesitate to accept what the subject that you raised for the past two shows about the end of American freedom. However, the more we talk about, the more I feel that we really have the fear about it, right? And first, you mentioned about the fight of human race versus Mother Nature, and I believe you are not only mentioning the pandemic, you are also including the environmental
Destruction.
sabotage,
Yes.
destructions, or whatsoever, right? How much do you know about that part, please?
Yeah, I mean, that has been talked about a lot. We know that. But you see, there is another, since you're talking about freedom. Do you know what the Patriot Act is?
Yeah.
The powers, there are puppet masters. Trump is not the king, he's just a puppet. Somebody tells him what to do. Somebody tells these people what to do. they're not doing it just by themselves. They're people who want to control and create more control. They really don't like the uprising. They really don't like the demonstrations. So after when 9/11 was attacked, conveniently, those powers had ready the Patriot Act. They rushed it through Congress. It became law, and if you read it, it gives the government complete control of everybody, and it gives the government the possibility, and which they're already talking about now, martial law. Martial law means that the government controls everything. And the Patriot Act basically, if enacted, everything, if every point of it enacted, would reduce the normal American freedom, which people are accustomed to, by 90%. And that has one advantage, because you see, controlling the people is something which every government dreams of. And people actually like to be controlled if it is in a pleasant way. Because if you watch a herd of sheep, there's always one sheep is the leader. Mm-hmm. He goes left, the 100 sheep behind him also go left. He go right, 100 sheep go right.
Yeah.
And the majority of people are like that. Mm-hmm. They're not like you and not like me who start to reason. You know, we are people, we think too much. Most of the people want a certain amount, and if they get that and you keep them happy, they're happy and they will follow you the way the leader go. Mm-hmm. So the dream of every government is complete control of the sheep. Mm-hmm. And the Patriot Act will, and martial law, will give the government that power.
You're done with this?
Yes.
Okay. I said I agree with you with the previous point of yours. Mm-hmm. On this one, I do not agree.
Good.
I disagree.
Tell me why.
And on the contrary,
yeah.
I find myself in support with the Patriotic Act.
Phew.
Because it was at a time when America was attacked, the America need to consider about their days on. So for an immediate act, the Americans took defense. So let us take a little moment. We come back. Let me tell you more on this, please. Stay with us.
And the Golden Angel Award ceremony.
Hello, my dear friends, my lovely audiences. Welcome back to the show. It's the East-West show hosted by Jack Chow. And today I'm joined by my friend, Mr. Chris Nebe, a Hollywood filmmaker, one with a very, very well-known, and also he's a lover to the community. Sometimes we agree each other, sometimes we do not. Regardless of whatever situation, we remain friends for the past almost 10 years. Okay, back to the point. I disagree with him with his comment of Patriotic Act. The Patriotic Act, which was adopted at a time of a special moment. All right. In the country, of course, you have long governing historical laws to cover from A to Z all the time. And you have temporary laws, right, that takes a little special moment to take some special action to see some result, later proven to be right, proven to be wrong, you go adjust as time goes by. Right now, so the Patriotic Act so far, for the past almost 20 years.
No,
I believe
201.
201,
9/11,
right? 19 years. Okay, so I found it working, not working, but working beautifully.
But it hasn't been enforced.
No,
The Patriot Act has not been enforced.
never been involved.
No.
Never been involved. And there was one report the other day. I'm so regretful that I didn't bring it today, or nor did I copy it on my cell phone, that they put together the numbers of espionage and the destruction plans made by our enemies, respectively, from to take L.A., Los Angeles as a target, or New York. They have numbers. I know there are numbers in the low 3 digits, like 200 something. I don't know, I don't remember how many exactly, 250, 280 whatsoever, but they are in the area of over 200. I know that law is active. I know that law is working. So, as a part of Patriotic Act, even ICE started working. We got rid of people. We do not need them. I mean bad guys. So, I don't know why you hold your opinion saying that the Patriotic Act was not working. No, that's
I'm
not a good
talking
law.
about, that's one side. That's one side. I'm talking about martial law. The Patriot Act enables the government to declare martial law today without any kind of Congress approval, because it has been approved.
Yeah.
With other words, tomorrow, if you have the Patriot, if let's say any president enforces a Patriot Act, you have a dictatorship here.
Go ahead. I don't agree.
But you have a dictatorship here. Read the Patriot Act. See, most people haven't read it. Because the fear rules the majority of the people, and more than ever today. Because you have the pandemic, you have a disaster economy, people are scared shit. They cannot pay their rent, they cannot pay, it's a terrible situation. It's much more terrible than we realize. And it will be more terrible. So people are fear, and people who don't really understand that America, contrary to what you say, will never be great again. Because this is, unless a miracle happens, this is a unique disaster, not only for America, but for everybody. Because, for example, in China, which had been handling the virus fairly well, now you have a huge outbreak in Beijing again. Everything is locked up. So, as you said, it goes on. And really, nobody knows tomorrow.
All right. Okay. Let's not talk about tomorrow. Let's talk about today.
Yeah,
right?
today
With the martial laws coming out from Patriotic Act, I believe we are doing the right thing right now, exactly at this very moment. There's nothing that works better than martial law. Martial law means I don't care about who's right, who's wrong. I just want to stop doing anything at this very moment.
Right. No more demonstrations.
No more demonstration, no more nothing.
Yeah.
Right? No more demonstration, no more protesting, because the moment is is so special just to stop it. Same as curfew, right? You may be going out for a cup of coffee at 11:01 in the morning. I'm sorry, no. It's a curfew now. Go home or we arrest you. And the other day, at this very show, either with Mr. Ken Hemming or with Mr. Joe Garner, I called for martial laws, or probably with you.
No.
Because martial laws will be the only thing this very moment that could work.
No, you didn't talk
That's
with
why-
me about it because I wouldn't agree. So I would remember, but you didn't. No, but yes, okay, you are right. You see, like the trouble is, Jack, everything has two sides. One positive side, a negative side, and then there's always a third side, which is not so clear, and most of the time that it's a gray zone, which is being exploited by the puppet masters who pull the strings. And the strings in this country is money. Money is everything. See, other countries have a different set of morals. In Europe, there is tradition, there's also money. Money also, everywhere is money. But in Europe, there is a sense of tradition. There is a sense, all these countries are, they are French, they are Germans, they are British, they are Polish. They have a national identity based on tradition in China.
I agree.
They are Chinese, they have a tradition, they have philosophers, they have a culture. America doesn't have that. America, as you see right now, is tearing down their past, which is okay. If they create a new one, fine. But they are not bound by these traditions, by a certain manner.
That's why they need a martial law. They need to be martial lawed. All right.
I mean, okay, but on the other hand, martial law is completely against what America stands for.
All right. Understand.
Because contrary to Europe,
You're right.
or China,
You're right.
especially in Europe, where we are caught with our history and our traditions and our manners.
All right. I understand.
America is free.
I understand. Very
has
good.
no real tradition.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Martial law is an action taken at the emergency time.
Yeah.
You will never martial law a country forever. Right? So martial law is only temporary measure. And number one. Number two, martial law is only a measure taken at a specific time when you have no better choice. I give you an example. All right? I give you an example. I got hurt on my leg. All right? And I missed the best time of cure.
Why?
Huh?
Why?
Why? Because I overlooked it. How about that? Right?
And then it got worse.
Then there came a doctor telling me I need to be amputated. All right? So I disagree. I said, doctor, why don't you go ahead and give me the best medication whatsoever instead of cutting my leg off? Doctor says, well, the medication needs time. You do not have the time. Before medication start functioning in your body, your leg will be gone. When your leg is gone, your body is gone, your life is gone. And doctor asked me, you want to live a man alive with one leg or with both legs and the dead person? So I chose as a doctor, if that is the case, go ahead. And I end up one-leg man with one amputee. All right? So this is the thing. At the moment you want to sacrifice your freedom a little bit, go ahead.
You have only one leg? I always see two. And you
Oh my God. You're from kindergarten what? I have 2 legs. I have
Yes.
2 balls.
Yes, and
Two.
and everything okay.
Yeah. I said as if.
Oh,
Suppose.
yes, I see.
Suppose. Oh my
Scared
God.
me to death.
Oh my God. Did I scare you?
Yes.
No. I tell you, I have both, all right? Okay, my dear friend, let's take a moment out because he was so scared anyway. He loves me too much, right? I guess. All right, we'll be right back.
It's called James. I host this news every morning.
And the Golden Angel Award ceremony.
Hello, dear friends. Welcome back to the show with my friend Chris Nebe. A monument of, no, I better not use the word monument because the monument never stands.
They're tearing them down.
They tear down anyway.
Just
Big
call me a filmmaker, that's good
A
enough.
big guy of filmmakers in Hollywood. So no longer a monument, all right? The big monument anyway. Yes. Oh my God, I want to cry. Okay, now, back to the show. We were at a point talking about martial laws as part of the governed by the Patriotic Act signed in 2001, I believe by George Bush, right? Okay, now, I was talking about, people argue, like my friend Chris Nebe says that we're talking about our sacrifice of freedom. I agree. When you are not able to visit your donut shop at the time you want to go because of martial laws, though, of course you're sacrificing your freedom. What I mean was that at the time of martial law, which is a temporary action, you have to give up what is relatively smaller. I use my legs by which I scared him to make a point. I said, suppose if I got hurt on one of my legs, right? I have to give it up to a point to save myself, to keep myself alive, even though I will live the rest of my life one-legged man, because I don't want to be a 2-legged dead body like that. So that's why I support the martial laws, and I disagree with you, with your comment on martial law. That does not, in the long run, take American freedom. It is just a protection of the American freedom. That's where I stand.
As far as I'm concerned, it's wrong because basically, I don't know if you remember, when Hitler came to power, because he established a similar law like the Patriot Act. There's a big similarity there. And it's called the Ermächtigungsgesetz. And that Ermächtigungsgesetz empowered him to control the country and make him the
What do the words stand for?
Huh?
What do the words stand for?
To mean Empowerment Act in translation.
Okay.
Empowerment Act. And that made him, and that was not for temporary. Once that was established, he took over the country. Now, here we have, you see, that's the difference. There we had a dictator taking over a country. This country here is a country which is ruled on the surface by a democracy. But behind them, there are puppet masters who string up the puppets. The politicians are puppets. Because you see, the system here, for example, you cannot get elected unless you have money. And you need plenty of money because you have to put your face out there, you have to make television advertising. Look at television, there's advertising now, big advertising for Trump, for Biden. Who pays for that? They don't have the money. Who gives them the money? Yes, there are a lot of people who give $5, $10, $100. But the big money
Not
is coming
necessarily.
from, the big money is coming, this country is ruled by money. And the big money goes to the politicians. The politicians don't have money. That's why you have so much corruption.
I agree.
And that's why politicians can be bought. Just now here in Los Angeles, a councilman in Los Angeles City, Huiza or something, the name, was arrested yesterday because he was bribed for some permits in downtown LA with $500,000 cash. And when they raided his apartment or his home, they found
Two of them.
$150,000 in cash stashed away. So, I mean, corruption is normal. It's everywhere. This is a part of life. You know, corruption is a normal part of life. But the Patriot Act has that power to legally control the country. Don't forget that. I mean,
Unfortunately,
Yeah.
even though it allows the dictator the single moment, the short moment to dictate the whole country,
yeah,
it is a temporary act that we have to take. Number one. Number two, I noticed
Yeah.
that you shift the foundation of our discussion. Right? We are talking about in any system, under any circumstances, and when there goes martial law, it is to martial law those special activities at the same moment, regardless of politics, regardless of politician, regardless of they are the puppet master, or regardless of they are the banker or whoever. And by nature, the word martial laws explain themselves.
yes.
That's it. As to how corrupt some system could be, that's another discussion. Give you an example, all right? The LA council members, two of them, for 150 something plus minus of dollars.
No, over 500,000.
Over 500?
Yeah.
All right, whatsoever.
It doesn't matter.
Of them, they are arrested.
Right, yeah.
All right. In China, you're talking about $500 million. You're talking about $1 billion. You're talking about from one warehouse, truckloads after truckloads of RMB bundles to shift it out. At the time of counting, they burn up 7 counters, money counters. Right? Look at corruption. That is corruption, that's corruption. Any system can corrupt. That's another discussion, man. That is not the case to indicate that a martial law could aid corruption. Do you see my point?
Correct,
I'm being sober-minded, please.
No. You're right.
Yeah, I'm trying to be reasonable. Yes,
yeah,
please.
but whatever it is, martial law is no good.
Okay, of course, no good.
I
love it. I love the fact that you recognize martial laws are no good.
Yeah.
Just like, say, doctors taking my leg off.
Right.
Right? Doctor who operates the amputee on me. But the purpose of his practice was to save my life. Unhappily, I accept it. Right? So that's the thing. Yeah. Okay, continue with our discussion. I'm really glad that you capitulate to what's wrong, what's being wrong, what's being right.
Well, let's say I personally do not appreciate martial law.
Okay, very good. I personally appreciate the martial law because it takes care of the temporary problem. No more. That's it. I'll give you another example. In a courtroom, right? Mm-hmm. And there are some audiences. Okay? Regarding they are right, regarding they are wrong. or regarding they represent the right party, or they represent the wrong party, the defense or prosecution, they are supposed to keep silent. Otherwise, court order then goes out, right? And that's the moment of going out. No more. That's it.
If you want to make that a political discussion, which you are doing, then you see, from day one, humanity has always had. There were some who wanted to lead the sheep, because they know that. How come there are 100 sheep? How come there's one sheep who is their leader? How come?
Aha, all right.
How come?
Okay, you hit the nail on the head.
How come?
I get
that
the answer
now
right
this-
there.
I mean, that is very interesting. I was fascinated and I really realized that when I was filming in Nebe Mongol in China. I really realized this is unbelievable. They always go, and horses too. I mean, there's not one sheep which will go here. They all go there.
Yeah.
There will be some stragglers, but they always go there. So, mankind has always tried to establish a new order, because the men are different than sheep. The man who runs there, people do not automatically follow him. Their basic instincts are to appreciate leadership, and they don't. And as long as they're comfortable,
I agree with you.
as long as you don't have that comfort zone, they have a comfort zone.
I agree with you. I remember last time at our last show, I used the word gregarious.
Yeah,
Right?
gregarious. Yeah.
Gregarious. Okay. Human bodies, human non-man brain are exactly the typical example of being gregarious. All right. Among the animal, wild, among the animal world, lions, even though strong, big, they choose to be gregarious. So when you see lions, you see a herd of lions, right?
Yeah.
And tigers, same thing.
All of
Tiger and lions that belong to the same family,
All of them.
they choose to be isolated. They choose to live alone. All right. Now, we human choose to live in a group. In a group, as animals having the gregarious characteristics, we do follow leaders, right? The leader, such as in a herd of sheep. In a herd of sheep, they follow one head sheep. That doesn't mean that one head sheep is good to every single one of them. All right, I follow him because he was so kind to me. They just follow. They have to have one follow. If the one leads them to a slaughter shop, they all follow into the slaughter machine themselves, okay? Now, in human society, because we have brains, because we're more advanced, we want to make sure that one leading ahead must be the one that we voted. Why we vote? Because we want him or her to represent us. When him or her fail to represent us, and we vote him out or her out. That's the difference.
Yeah, but you see, for example, as a good example, follow your leader. Take Nazi Germany. They had a leader, Hitler, and they all followed him. They all followed him right into the slaughterhouse.
Aha, good question.
Into the slaughterhouse,
a good
and
point.
they got
Good point.
destroyed.
Hitler's being Hitler, is it the fault of Hitler himself?
No.
Let me say it again. Hitler's being Hitler.
Yeah.
Is it or was it the fault of Hitler himself?
No, it was the fault of the people following.
All right, good answer. Thank you very much. Okay, my dear friend, we went over time with my friend Chris Nebe. I did enjoy the statement that we made. I believe that we made one thing clear, that we are facing problems bigger than a statue.
That's true.
because the monument to be toppled. All right. Okay, my friend. And then there has to be more. And I like he and I agree on something, disagree on something, argue on something, get a common ground on something, going back and forth. We elevate ourselves by lifting ourselves. My dear friends, I love you, and we will see you next time. Thank you for watching, and to Chris, thank you very much. No
Bye-bye.
handshaking, or okay, all right,
Cheers,
that's good enough. Okay.